You ever see this guy with the pillows on Fox? My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell. He is the greatest. The My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell. And he's been with us right from the beginning.
Good Thursday afternoon, America. Thanks for joining us today on the Mike Lindell Show. I'm Vanessa Broussard. It's the last semester for the Department of Education. Today, President Trump making good on his promise to shut down the Department of Education and send it back to the states. President Trump will be signing an executive order any minute now from the White House, as we will bring you live coverage as soon as that happens. We are on standby, and as we wait, here are some key facts. Since 1979, the U.S. Department of Education has spent over $3 trillion, with not much to show for it. Per pupil spending has increased more than 245%. And no big change in student achievement. Pretty sad. Grades have suffered. Math and reading scores for 13-year-olds are at the lowest level in decades. For fourth graders, 6 in 10 are not proficient in math. Same goes for 3/4 of eighth graders. This is not acceptable. 40% of fourth graders don't even meet the basic reading levels. Let me tell you that again. 40% of fourth graders do not even meet the basic reading levels. Now, to those standardized tests that students have to take every year, scores have remained flat for decades. No improvement there either. American students rank 28 out of 37 OECD member countries in math. 28 out of 37. So ask yourself if that's okay. To me, it's not, and it's not okay to President Trump either. We believe we can do better. We're America. There's no excuse for students not to excel in every grade level in every subject. So today, the Trump administration is ringing the school bell one last time on the Department of Education, returning education to individual states. President Trump believes the federal system is bloated and burdens schools with regulations and paperwork. He asks the question, why would we keep doing the same thing over and over and over again for decades and expect a different result? It's just not working. So today, that all changes. We'll bring you live coverage in just minutes from the White House with President Trump. Stick around for that. But in the meantime, let's bring in White House correspondent Allison Steinberg live from Washington, D.C. Allison, a big day there for education. What are you hearing there?
Yes, it sure is a big day, Vanessa, and it is an exciting day in that we saw earlier before parents and students coming in here to the White House to attend the executive order signing. Lots of parents and students very excited about this historic day and this historic moment for America, because as you touched on, the Department of Education has really done nothing for Americans and students except steal our tax dollars. So I think this is a real big breath of fresh air, something that's long overdue and much needed in this country to restore some sanity in the education system and, of course, put the power back to the states where it belongs so they can act accordingly.
Absolutely. And so, like you mentioned, that's very good that we are going to see some students there today in attendance for President Trump making that announcement. You know, Allison, the Democrats are going to say he's abolishing the Department of Education. This is bad news. It kind of reminds me about Roe versus Wade, where he sent it back to the states. You know, the Democrats are still up in arms about abortion, but he didn't demolish it altogether. He's letting the states decide. So I'm going to go ahead and put it out there that that's what the Democrats are going to say today. This is terrible. He's demolishing the Department of Education, but he's sending it to the states. The states don't have that federal overhead overseeing them. They're in charge of their own education, and that's a great thing. And like he mentioned today, the statement from the White House, why expect the same thing over and over and over again to happen and get different results. It's not working. The test scores are just terrible for our children, and it shouldn't be that way. We have the best teachers, the best educators, the best schools, so we need to have the best grades. Don't you agree?
Absolutely, Vanessa. And it's so sad that it's come to this, isn't it? I mean, the fact that Caroline Levitt actually told us here out front of the White House this morning that I believe in Baltimore, Maryland, 0% of high schoolers pass basic math and reading levels. I mean, this is just unprecedented. It's so devastating for the future of our country. So yes, it is only right that we bring this back to the states, as was done with Roe v. Wade. As you mentioned, this very similar situation. And I think this is what's needed. Then that way, if students are failing basic testing scores, we know who to blame. We know where to point the finger. So I think this is a great thing. I think it's going to hold everyone to a higher standard. And I think it's only going to benefit the students, the parents, and the future of America.
You know, Allison, I was on my way to work today walking into the studio, and I couldn't help but think that I talk about this all the time if people follow me on social media and also in the past, shows that I've done. Children today are so in tune to social media. I feel like they know more in social media than they do reading, writing, and arithmetic. And the stats are there and they show. I can almost promise you that 99% of high schoolers can get an A+ in the latest TikTok trend, but they're failing math and reading. How sad is that today?
It's absolutely devastating, and that was proven true today because I actually stepped outside of the White House gate here earlier today, and I had the opportunity to go around and talk to some of the great Americans that were out here visiting the White House, and I just had a lot of really nice organic conversations. Of course, I had to bring politics up because we are at the White House, but very interestingly, many people just sort of have no idea what's going on. And I think it's so sad because I think social media and, all of these apps like TikTok and Instagram are to blame for this. Everyone is just so distracted on their little device that they have in their hand 24/7 that we've sort of lost the focus of what is truly important. And we saw that was very abundantly clear with the last administration, just watching our freedom slip away. So I was reminded that it's so important to have these conversations with individuals to remind them what's important, inspire the younger generation to pay attention and really do well in school so that we can have a successful and prosperous future. And we don't find ourselves under the rule of another 4 years of someone like Biden or Harris or whoever else the Democrats nominate to destroy our country, right?
Absolutely. And, over the last 4 years, staying on the topic of social media, I see all of these posts from junior high kids, high school kids. But at the same time, you look at posts from China and they're studying how to put equipment together and machinery and computers. That's scary for generations to come. If places like China are educating their kids at such a young age on how to, get computers set up and how to, do the basics at toddler age. And our kids are getting ready to go to college and they don't know how to sign their name because we're not even teaching handwriting anymore. Something has to change, and I think today's the day, Allison.
I think today is the day indeed, and it's a very promising future for our country and the students here, and I'm very hopeful. In fact, I'm extra hopeful because as I was out there interviewing various students and kids that were here visiting the White House, I actually stumbled upon this wonderful group of children. They were so adorable and they were so excited to join us on Lindell TV. And I got the best interview with them. I was a little worried because at first they said they loved Kamala Harris. They were from Hawaii, so maybe that has something to do with it. But I kind of got them to reframe their thinking a little bit. And I think we actually have the clip. This is hilarious, you guys. Watch what these kids said they love about President Trump.
Could impact our United States in a better way, but I also think Kamala and girl power.
Okay, so let's take out the girl power for a moment.
Okay.
You said President Trump has done some good things.
Yes.
Can you tell us what you think he's done that's good?
He's made some
Oh,
stuff
I know what he did good.
Okay.
He made honey buns cheaper. Wow, that's amazing. Honey buns cheaper.
He made honey buns cheaper. That's a win for America. I don't know if it's a win for making America healthy again, but at least the kids are hyped up on the honey buns.
Absolutely. I love it. And they're in tune. Even they know that prices are higher. And so with President Trump, they were higher during the Biden administration with inflation, but with President Trump, prices are starting to come down. So even the kids know that. So that's a good sign.
That is a good sign indeed. It shows that they're at least paying attention. They're sort of beginning to understand the political landscape, and they know the importance of the economy and money, because who wants to pay more for honey buns if you don't have to? On that note, too, the Trump administration did announce that the price of eggs are finally dropping, so that is very exciting. Just ahead of Easter, I know I eat a lot of eggs, so I'm very excited to not pay $6 a dozen anymore. So great news there, too.
Absolutely. And, you know, you talked about eggs, gas prices are down. We're loving seeing all these prices come down. Easter right around the corner. We can fill the kiddos' baskets up with eggs and do Easter egg hunts and all the things. So glad to see that. But inflation has been out of control under the Biden administration. Trump is doing a great job. I think just days ago, Allison, I was seeing egg prices, the wholesale price, have already decreased by half since President Trump took office. So great news there. The Democrats all of a sudden forgot about the eggs now that the prices are going down and they're on to something else. So yes, but we are on standby for President Trump to make that announcement regarding the Department of Education. Kara Castronova, another White House correspondent here at Lindell TV, is inside waiting on that. Allison, any last words from the White House there?
Well, you mentioned the Democrats forgot about the egg prices, but I think this is going to be the next issue that they're up in arms about, is this Department of Education situation and just doing away with it. So it will be interesting to see what they are saying about it. As we touched on earlier, I think it's just, you know, a win for our country and a win for the students. But of course, the Democrats will find anything to find fault with, so long as it comes from President Trump. So we will stay tuned to any updates that come from them. Obviously, we'll be paying attention to what the legacy media has to say about it. But until then, it's an exciting day here, and we are excited to get this executive order signed into motion.
All right, Allison, thank you so much for that report.
Thank you so much.
And as we continue to follow this breaking news story unfolding right now in Washington, D.C., here in just a little bit, we'll also get reaction from Oklahoma State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Ryan Walters. He will be joining us, as well as that live coverage from the White House as President Trump makes that announcement. So stick here with Lindell TV. We'll bring you all that live coverage from Capitol Hill here in just a moment. In other news, you have seen the videos of Tesla vehicles being burned all across the country. The left setting cars on fire in protest of Elon Musk. Well, today, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced that arrests and charges against people responsible for those violent destructions of Tesla properties, arrests have been made. Bondi says this is a wave of domestic terrorism, and she says if you act, you will be put behind bars. She says one suspect was also armed with a suppressed AR-15 rifle and was arrested in Oregon. Another was arrested in Colorado. The third arrested in South Carolina. You're looking at video of one of the many burnings of vehicles across the country. No word on if this suspect here was one of the 3 arrested today, but this gives you an idea of what's going on. All 3 who were arrested, they do face serious charges, carrying a minimum penalty of 5 years up to 20 years in prison. But just think about it. Over a year ago, the left loved Elon Musk. They loved him and his Tesla electric vehicles. They wanted everyone to drive Teslas. They're electric, save our environment. Now, all of a sudden, they don't want you to drive those Tesla vehicles because Elon Musk is making America great again, along with President Trump. So they've changed their minds, and now they're burning vehicles. But again, Pam Bondi says if you act, you will face up to 20 years in prison. Actually, today, Tesla put out a simple statement. We have cameras. We see you. So there's always eyes watching you. And come on, do you really think that Elon Musk doesn't have cameras on all of his properties? He does, and you will get caught. Now to the battle at the border and the work to keep it secure and stop the flow of illegal drugs coming into the country. Here's Kristi Noem on a big bust that was made today.
Days of President Trump's administration, he's already delivered on his campaign promises of making America safe again and helping the American people to be more secure as well. And today we're here to recognize and to witness another milestone in his mission to protect our borders, to protect our communities, and to stop the flow of illicit drugs and trafficking into the United States of America. Today is a historic day. Here at Port Everglades, over 22.5 tons or 45,000 pounds of cocaine and 50 pounds of marijuana are valued at over $500 million are going to be offloaded and taken out of circulation. This is an unprecedented seizure of illicit drugs that is the result of 14 different interdictions of drug smuggling vessels off the coasts of Mexico, Central and South America by the crews of the U.S. Coast Guard Cutter Stone and Coast Guard Cutter Mohawk. They've done incredible work here with their crews to remove these drugs out of the system so they can be destroyed. These efforts were coordinated with the Helicopter Tactical Squadron air crews that you see with us today as well, Tactical Team Pacific law enforcement detachments that were involved, and partner agencies that are operating in the Eastern Pacific Ocean. The brave men and women of the Coast Guard do work every single day, 24/7, and they do it with excellence. Their dedication, their resilience, and their patriotism is something that we all can admire and does not go unnoticed. Their core mission is simple, but it's incredibly crucial. It's to secure our territorial waters and to safeguard our nation from those who seek to do us harm. Their mission directly aligns with President Trump's vision to make America safe and strong again. And thanks to the Coast Guard's relentless maritime security and their interdiction efforts, $517 million worth of illegal drugs will never reach American communities here by what you see today as a result of these weeks of work. That means that fewer families are going to be torn apart by addiction, that fewer lives are going to be lost to overdoses, that communities will be safer, and fewer resources will be at the hands of dangerous, violent cartels that seek to do all of us harm.
The numbers are plummeting during the Trump administration when it comes to drugs and illegal crossings. The latest number from Border Patrol shows that last month there were just over 28,000 illegal encounters nationwide, compared to 256,000 in February of last year under Biden. We're just getting word that fighter Conor McGregor is running for president of Ireland. The 36-year-old Irish martial artist is a big MAGA Trump supporter. He's also a businessman, a UFC fighter, 5-time world champion. Just minutes ago, Conor McGregor posted on X, Ireland, that is. Ireland, the choice is yours, and it's an easy one. Vote for me as your president, and we will save Ireland together. Big news there. Can't wait to follow him on his journey to becoming president of Ireland. Very interesting. All right, again, we are still waiting on President Trump to make his decision. There's Conor McGregor with the president right there. Yes, he was just at the White House on St. Patrick's Day and now making that big announcement. Again, waiting on President Trump to make the announcement on the Department of Education. We are on standby. Our reporter Kara Castronova is inside waiting on President Trump. We will bring you the very latest live coverage here in just moments. But before we go to break, we want to remind you that Fisher Gold is the way to go when you want to secure your future financially, secure your wealth right now. It's a simple setup. Endorsed by Mike Lindell. All you have to do is go to MikeLindellGold.com. That's MikeLindellGold.com. Now, for qualifying orders, you could get a free coin, up to $20,000 in free silver as well. Can't beat that deal. There's the website on your screen. Make sure you give them a try. Very good at what they do. They want to help you. It's a conservative company. They share our values. They want to help conservatives save for the future. Let them know, again, that Mike Lindell sent you, and we'll be right back with more here on The Mike Lindell Show. Stay with us.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. You know, I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets.
I'm interrupted this commercial to do something I've never done before. Get 2 MyPillows absolutely free on orders of $100 or more. I can't do this forever, so get on board with this great sale today. Our best-selling 6-piece bath towel sets or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Our famous standard MyPillows only $14.98. Queens $18.98. King size only $1 more. Body pillows $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bed sheet sets. Any size, any color. So go to MyPillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And when you spend $100 or more, get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free. Are you ready to move easily and independently without pain or stiffness holding you back? That's where Native Path Collagen comes in. Native Path Collagen was designed with the highest quality ingredients that are scientifically backed to ease joint pain, strengthen bones, boost mobility, and so much more. And unlike other collagen products, it's made with the best 2 types of collagen fibers. These 2 specific fibers make up 90% of the collagen in your body. With Native Path Collagen, strengthening your bones, joints, and overall health, it's as easy as 1 scoop a day. And the best part, Native Path offers amazing bundle deals. And with their 365-day money-back guarantee, there's no risk to trying it today. Visit getnativepath.com/Lindell and start your transformation today.
Welcome back to the Mike Lindell Show. I'm Vanessa Broussard. We are still awaiting President Trump at the White House to sign a huge executive order, an executive order that is historic when it comes to education here in the United States of America. He is now demolishing the Department of Education and sending education back to the individual states so the individual states can control the education in their designated state. Also, our reporter, Kara Castronova, is inside right now waiting. She did send some video, very cute video of the setup that they have there inside the White House as we continue to wait for President Trump. I don't know if we have that video, if we can air it, but it's a group of kids sitting in school desks, really cute. And I'm told that President Trump will be right between them as he signs that executive order. So the room is full of children. As you know, President Trump loves the children and also cares about their future, because it's been years, decades that the Department of Education has been in existence. You know, 1979 is when they came into existence, and some statistics just aren't showing or proving that it's worth it. And so President Trump believes that it's time to make a change, because if decades have gone by and our children are not succeeding and exceeding in their classes at such a young age, then we need to make a change. And that's exactly what he's doing today. Again, our Kara Castronova is there inside the White House as we wait for President Trump. And outside the White House, we have our White House correspondent, Allison Steinberg. We'll go back out live to her, Allison, as we wait. The momentum's there. People are excited, and to know, I wish we had that video that we could show of the little kids in their desks. But just cute to see that they have it all set up, because it is such a historic day.
Trump's coming in now. Okay.
Yes, it is such a historic day, and that video is so adorable. I hope we can play it for you.
Yeah, say Trump's coming in.
So cute, but I'm just getting word now. Trump is actually walking into the room now. So
sit down. Before we begin,
that's all it is. Good job, Sean. Thank you.
Said I signed a
That's all it looks like
proclamation
sometimes.
a few moments ago honoring the 250th anniversary of Patrick Henry's famous speech to the Second Virginia Convention, in which he declared very well-known, very famous words: "Give me liberty or give me death." Has anyone heard the phrase? I think most of you have. And moments ago, I also signed an executive order to dramatically increase production of critical minerals and rare earths. It's a big thing in this country. And as you know, we're also signing agreements in various locations to unlock rare earths and minerals and lots of other things all over the world. But in particular, Ukraine, we're doing very well with regard to Ukraine and Russia. And one of the things we are doing is signing a deal very shortly with respect to rare earths with Ukraine, which they have tremendous value in rare earth, and we appreciate that. And we spoke yesterday with, as you know, President Putin and President Zelensky, and we would love to see that come to an end, and I think we're doing pretty well in that regard. So hopefully we could save thousands of people a week from dying. That's what it's all about. They're dying so unnecessarily, and I believe we'll get it done. We'll see what happens, but I believe we'll get it done. Today we take a very historic action that was 45 years in the making. In a few moments, I will sign an executive order to begin eliminating the Federal Department of Education once and for all. And it sounds strange, doesn't it? Department of Education, we're going to eliminate it. And everybody knows it's right. And the Democrats know it's right, and I hope they're going to be voting for it because ultimately it may come before them. But everybody knows it's right, and we have to get our children educated. We're not doing well with the world of education in this country, and we haven't for a long time. And we're pleased to be joined today by the woman who I chose because she's an extraordinary person, and hopefully she will be our last Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon. Linda, thank you. Thank you very much. That's another interesting statement. It's an interesting opening, right? But it's true, and it's been amazing how popular this has been. I tell people that this is what I'm doing today, and they say, oh, it's about time. Everybody says it. Republicans and Democrats have said it. They're all saying it. Also with us are some terrific people. Governors Greg Abbott. Greg, thank you very much. Governor Ron DeSantis, thank you very much, Ron. Mike Braun, congratulations on your victory, Mike. That was a big one. Mike DeWine, thank you very much, Mike. Jeff Landry. Jeff, thank you very much, Jeff. Bill Lee, thank you. Governors, all governors. Brad Little. Brad, thank you very much. Where are you, Brad? Hi, Brad. Jim Pilan, thank you very much, Jim. And Kim Reynolds. These are all people very interested in education. And I even see Dan Patrick over there, my friend Dan Patrick. We're joined also by Representatives Tim Walberg and Virginia Fox, Rick Allen, Michael Rulli, and again, Dan Patrick. Thank you very much, Dan. You've been a great friend of ours. And State Attorneys General Ken Paxton. Ken, I see you there. Andrew Bailey. Andrew, what a job you've done, Andrew. You have some good cases going. You've done a great job. Thank you very much. And co-founder of Moms for Liberty, Tiffany Justice. She's been a hard worker. Thank you. Thank you, Tiffany. When President Carter created the Federal Education Department in 1979, it was opposed by members of his own cabinet, as well as the American Federation of Teachers, the New York Times editorial board, and the famed Democrat Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan. History has proven them right, absolutely right. After 45 years, the United States spends more money on education by far than any other country, and spends likewise by far more money per pupil than any country, and it's not even close. But yet we rank near the bottom of the list in terms of success. It's an amazing stat. Those are two stats you don't want. The most money spent per pupil and you're at the bottom of the list. And that's where we are, like it or not. And we've been there for a long time. 70% of 8th graders are not proficient in either reading or in math. 70%. 40% of 4th graders lack even basic reading skills, can't read. Students in our public elementary and middle schools score worse in reading today than when the department opened by a lot. In Baltimore, 40% of the high schools have 0 students who can do basic mathematics. Not even the very simplest of mathematics. I said, give me your definition of basic, and they're talking about like adding a few numbers together. Despite these breathtaking failures, the department's discretionary budget has exploded by 600% in a very short period of time, and it employs bureaucrats in buildings all over Washington, D.C. And as a former real estate person, I will tell you, I ride through the streets of Washington, and it says Department of Education, Department of Education. I said, how do you fill those buildings? It's crazy what's happened over the years. I'm pleased to report that after offering these federal employees 2 generous buyout options, and they were very generous, and they're good people, but they were very generous. My administration has initiated a reduction in force, and we're already cutting numbers that were really surprising to a lot that we were able to do it so successfully. And we've cut the number of bureaucrats in half. 50% have taken office, which is great. Thank you. Under the action I'm taking today, a small handful of Democrats and others that we have employed for a long time, and there are some Republicans, but not too many, I have to be honest with you. But the department's useful functions, and such as, and they're in charge of them, Pell Grants, Title I funding, resources for children with disabilities and special needs will be preserved, fully preserved. They're all going to be so. If you look at the Pell Grants, it's supposed to be a very good program, Title I funding and resources for children with special disabilities and special needs. They're going to be preserved in full and redistributed to various other agencies and departments that will take very good care of them. And that's very important to Linda, I know, and it's very important to all of us. But beyond these core necessities, my administration will take all lawful steps to shut down the department. We're going to shut it down and shut it down as quickly as possible. It's doing us no good. We want to return our students to the states where just some of the governors here are so happy about this. They want education to come back to them, to come back to the states, and they're going to do a phenomenal job. You know, if you look, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, I have to tell you, I give them a lot of credit. China's top 10, and so we can't now say that bigness is making it impossible to educate, because China's very big. But you have countries that do a very good job in education, and I really believe, like some of the governors here today, from states that run very, very well, including a big state like Texas, but states that run very well are going to have education that will be as good as Norway, Denmark, Sweden, and those top, Finland, those top countries that do so well with education. I think they'll do every bit as well. And what do you think about that, Governor? Do you agree? I think so. Ron, do you agree? I think so. Florida? Iowa? That's right. I really believe that. They'll be as good as any of them. And then you'll have some laggards, and we'll work with them. And we can all tell you who the laggards will be right now, probably, but let's not get into that. But we'll work with them, and we're going to make them, they'll do a job. I think they'll do a job, and they'll go to sections of the state. For instance, New York, you'll have a Manhattan, and you'll have a Suffolk County, and you'll have a Nassau County, and you'll have Westchester County. You'll do 4 or 5 or 6 of them. You have upstate New York, and those counties, I think, are going to do very well. And I think ultimately Manhattan should do very well. But we'll break it down into sections, and I think it'll be really, really good. And they're going to be probably the tougher ones, but I think they have a chance to do really well. But we're going to be returning education very simply back to the states where it belongs, and this is a very popular thing to do, but much more importantly, it's a common sense thing to do, and it's going to work. Absolutely, it's going to work, and I can tell you from dealing with the governors and others in the state, they want it so badly. They want to take their children back and really teach their children individually. Probably the cost will be half, and the education will be maybe many, many times better. So we look forward to this. I want to just make one little personal statement. Teachers, to me, are among the most important people in this country, and we're going to take care of our teachers. And I don't care if they're in the union or not in the union. That doesn't matter. But we're going to take care of our teachers, and I believe the states will take actually better care of them than they are taken care of right now. They'll work all sorts of systems and even merit systems. Those great teachers are going to be maybe a little bit better rewarded, or maybe that's the way it should be, but the states are going to make that decision. But we're going to love and cherish our teachers along with our children, and they're going to work with the parents, and they're going to work with everybody else, and it's going to be an amazing thing to watch, and it's really going to be something special. And Linda, you're presiding over something that's so important, and you're going to do a fantastic job, just like you have your whole life. I know your whole life I've been watching you. I've been watching you for a long time. She's had nothing but success. So it's tremendous to have you, and hopefully you won't be there too long, but we're going to find something else for you, Linda, okay? So this will conclude what we are talking about with respect to our most cherished group of people, and that's our children. We want to have our children well educated. We want them to love going to school. We have examples of it. Look at those beautiful, bright-eyed faces. They are so smart. They're so smart. And with that, I'm going to come down, and we're going to sign a very important document, and we're going to be on our way. People have wanted to do this for many, many years, for many, many decades. And I don't know, no president ever got around to doing it, but I'm getting around to doing it. So thank you very much. Should I do this? Should I do it? Yeah? Okay. I think so. We have pens for you too, special pens. Okay, I'll take this one out. I had one, I was very lucky. I signed another document that turned out to be very good for the country, and I said, let's use that same pen. I don't know, is anybody superstitious? Ron, are you superstitious? Let's use that same pen. Okay. Can you come up just to say, come on up? That's good. It's very important. You're a big factor here. Good luck. Good luck, Lynn. Thank you, everybody, very much. Good luck. Thank you.
sending them in. They are in a position where they'll always ready to fight. No, I was working.
There you have it, the president demolishing the Department of Education and sitting there with the children. How precious was that picture of the kids sitting in their desk? Looks like an everyday classroom shot of children studying hard, and that's just what they're going to do. President Trump, as you just heard, when he's talking about the Department of Education, saying, quote, it's doing us no good. Again, it's doing us no good. He couldn't emphasize it enough, so we have to do good. He mentioned and introduced different leaders from different states. He says we are returning education back to the states where the president says it belongs. States that have run very well will be good, he says, like Norway, Denmark. He also mentioned Finland. Those countries rank high in education, and there is no excuse why America can't be right up there with Norway, Denmark, and Finland. We bring in Ryan Walters now, Oklahoma State Superintendent of Public Instruction. Ryan, so good to see you. What's your reaction today?
Oh, look, I couldn't be more excited for our kids, for our parents. I truly believe that the image you just saw is going to go down in our history books. This is going to be one of these crucial moments that for the next generation, President Trump unlocked the power of the family, of the individual in education, said, listen, the founders would have never wanted a DC bureaucrat deciding what your kid's classroom looks like. So he has returned power back to the states. States like us here in Oklahoma, we're going to give power back to families and parents. And I truly believe we're going to look back at this as being one of these monumental steps to getting the country back on track. It is truly a historic day and truly an exciting day to be in education.
Absolutely. And, you know, President Trump just mentioned, Ryan, that our children are the most cherished, and they really are. He's not happy with these school scores, the scores across the country. I read them off at the top of the hour, and it's hard to even tell the public what the scores are because they're terrible. Kids can't read. They can't do basic math. They're going off to high school and college and can't do the basics. So it's not working. And so President Trump says we can't do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. So, or the same result is what we're getting. So we have to make a change. And so he made that change today. And I'm really excited with you for our kids because today is the day we've got to save our younger generation in so many different ways. And there's just no excuse why America is not number one when it comes to education.
No, that's exactly right. And you look at it from several different ways here. Number one, you know, that agency, I mean, that was a bunch of radical Marxists who worked at the Department of Education in D.C. It was a radicalized agency. And the best proof I've got for that for you here today is last summer, that agency came out under the direction of Joe Biden and said, states, if you don't allow boys and girls bathrooms, boys and girls sports, we're going to sue your state. We're going to sue individuals. We're going to take all the funding from you. Those are the kind of threats that agency was making on states. Think about the absurdity of that. Not focusing on reading, math, history, and science, but they were focused on pushing a woke ideology. So number one, getting that ideology out of the way is tremendous. Number two, to your point, there's no reason we shouldn't be setting high expectations on our kids. There's no reason we shouldn't be telling every kid, hey, look, you can learn to read, you can learn to do math, but that's just the beginning. It's a jumping off point for the rest of your life. These are the types of things we should be telling kids. Hey, individually, it's up to you. You have tremendous capacity. We're going to help you along those ways. Not telling kids they're victims or oppressors or all of that left-wing nonsense, but truly empowering individuals. When you do that, you unlock that God-given potential. And that's when you look at the future being so bright under President Trump, who has continued to push the country to be great again. It is quite a calling. It is quite a visionary statement. And now you're seeing that applied in education.
And I think, Ryan, too, a lot of parents right now, they may not be as in the know as you are or the educators are, superintendents across the country and teachers. So if a parent is sitting at home, this may scare a parent a little bit about not knowing what the future holds. Do you have any advice for parents? What does this mean for their kid? Will they see changes next school year? If not, when will they see changes? Will there still be standardized testing every year? What changes will be seen in a child's classroom?
That's a great question. So here's what I would tell parents. First of all, everything's gotten worse since we created a federal Department of Education. And the left does a great job of gaslighting, right? They do the whole, if you take any of these things away, it's going to be the end of days. But here's what I'm going to tell parents. Parents, you want to know what the feds required for your kids' classrooms? They required more bureaucracy. They required teachers to fill out more paperwork. They forced teachers into trainings that were about DEI and CRT, not about math or reading. They forced districts to play those same type of games to get a little bit of federal funds. They had to go hire 8 more bureaucrats. They had to go, if your kid has a special need, they required that special needs teacher to work hours and hours a week just in filling out their paperwork and tying their hands of how they could help your child. So what you're going to see is more innovative classrooms. You're going to see teachers with more opportunities to hone their craft. You're going to see more resources, frankly, getting to your classroom, getting to your kids, because it's not going to be tied up here in bureaucracy. It's going to be allowed to flow directly to the kids, as it should be. And so you're going to see, again, a lot more opportunity for your kids. You're going to see a lot more opportunity for you as a parent to be involved. You're going to see a lot more transparency and a lot more accountability.
Absolutely. And President Trump just mentioned, too, cost will be half. And he says education will be, quote, many, many times better. So to even consider that costs will be half, will that affect parents? You know, we talk about taxpayers. Will they see some savings there? What does President Trump mean when he says costs will be in half?
Great point. Yeah, the president made a great point with that of illustrating this, because there's multiple ways the Federal Department of Education has driven cost up in education. The first is literally they've spent money on things that are not necessities. So they have grown bureaucracy. They hire more employees. They create apparatuses like DEI training, CRT, transgenders, all that nonsense, right? But then there's a second aspect of it as well. So not only are they taking all your taxpayer dollars to pay for bureaucrats and their salaries, remember those bureaucrats have to justify their positions by passing on regulations, passing on processes, passing on procedures down the line. So what ends up happening is you get all of this paperwork and bureaucracy that is pushed down to states and local districts where they're hiring people just to fill out the paperwork for the federal government, for the federal dollars. So what President Trump is saying is we're not only going to eliminate the jobs, we're not going to eliminate the bureaucracy, but don't forget all of that bureaucracy that's been pushed down to localities from the feds is now eliminated as well. So what does that mean? That means there is now more money available to go directly to classrooms, which again, to your point, means you can free up. Hey, taxpayers don't have as heavy a load here. The taxpayer dollars are being streamlined. They're being more accountable to the needs of kids, not the needs of bureaucrats out of DC. So, I mean, it really, when you're going to see the cost in education actually come down pretty dramatically because of the elimination of that bureaucracy.
He had several representatives from states like Florida and Texas there, states that do, well when comparison to other states. There are states, Ryan, who don't do well. And I worry about those kids, because no matter what, it's never the child's fault. You can argue and fight across the aisle in Washington, D.C. all day long and send it back to the states. But the fact is there are some states that don't care about the kids as much as other states do. Is that a concern? Because I want all states to succeed, and I just don't know, from my personal opinion, that there's states out there that are really going to pay attention to the kids.
You make a great point. I want to point this out. President Trump's entire education vision and agenda really takes this on head on, because what does he also want to go through this Congress? Universal school choice. Because I agree with you. My heart breaks for kids in blue states. My heart breaks for kids in blue cities that have terrible, terrible education systems. And what do they try to do? They try to make sure that you can't go somewhere else. They try to make sure that you don't have school choice or options or parents' rights. So again, what President Trump has championed is we need universal school choice. So it doesn't matter if you live in the bluest city in the country. If you want to send your kid to a private school or a charter school or a different school, homeschool, whatever the opportunity may be, you can. And I think that's crucial here because, to your point, with this freedom will come blue states and say, we don't actually want to drive student outcomes. We actually want to continue to keep our bureaucracy large in our state. Well, let's give parents the ability to say, well, if that's the decision you make, I'm going to make the decision and opt out into these other opportunities. They're going to be much more aligned to my interests as a parent. And so I think that's a crucial part here because we want to give that type of relief to all parents across the country. We have it here in Oklahoma. It's been tremendous. We've seen parents vote with their feet, right? We've seen parents very engaged. And frankly, you know what else we've seen? The public schools get better because they want to keep those kids. They want to compete. And so I think that's a crucial part of this as well.
I'm glad you mentioned that because if I was a parent in a blue state, I would be very concerned right now. So I'm glad you put that in that perspective. So they have hope out there and, their school choice. And so all kids are going to be okay. President Trump also said we're going to take care of our teachers. Let's talk about the teachers for a second, Ryan. We can't forget about them because they're at the helm of, of the classrooms.
And I want to take this issue head on because one of the things you hear a lot is the teachers union is not the teachers, right? The teachers union are a group of bureaucrats, left-wing advocates that run that organization. Now, we've done an interesting thing here in Oklahoma where we started just using kind of our apparatus here in the state government where I just said, hey, teachers, I want to make sure you know what your teachers unions are fighting for, what their positions are. And we've had a lot of teachers go, well, hold on a second, that's not my position. I don't want to be in the association if they push things like that. So that's the first thing is I would just mention teachers unions are not aligned with most teachers, number one. Number two, teachers have been damaged by the Federal Department of Education. Let me tell you a couple of ways how. Number one, they have been required to go to trainings that are absolute nonsense. We've had teachers in our state go, hey, I'd like to go and get better with my professional development here, but the feds are saying these are the type of programs that are available. Well, I don't want to do that. I want to actually work on math, not all this other nonsense. Number two. Number three, remember that the teachers unions and the Federal Department of Education have de-incentivized programs like merit pay, where it actually takes on, President Trump mentioned that today as well. We do that in Oklahoma, where, hey, if you do a great job, we want to pay you a lot more, not just a little bit more, but a lot more. And what that does is that encourages good people to stay in the profession. It encourages things like districts taking advantage of their good teachers by saying, hey, we're going to pay you more too, because we got to compete with all these great teachers around. So it will be beneficial to teachers. They won't have as much nonsense they have to deal with, number one. Number two, you're going to see a lot more programs like merit pay that are able to emerge now.
Very good. Have to take care of our teachers. I know that's going to be good news for them. We only have a couple of minutes, Ryan, and I want to talk about the parents' role. Because I think that we can put the blame on the federal government. We can put the blame on the states all day long for the test scores. But everything starts at home. And so I believe, I talked to Allison, our White House correspondent, a little earlier in the show before you came on. I believe that most of our kids know the lyrics of the top 40 hits from Taylor Swift, or they know the latest TikTok trend, but they don't know reading, writing, and arithmetic. And so I think that parents need to really stay focused on, okay, Susan, little Susie, if you know the latest dance on TikTok, you better know your spelling tests, the words on your spelling test for tomorrow as well. You've A+ TikTok, you got an A+ your spelling test. Don't you agree that this starts at home? Like, we have to limit our time. We're in an age and in a time where social media is so big and it's just going to get bigger. And so how do we go back to the basics of, okay, we have to sit down as a family, we have to do our homework, we have to study for our test, you have this coming up tomorrow, you have this coming up Monday, projects. We will put the TV and social media aside. It's not going anywhere, but we've got to ace our homework. Ryan, what do we do about it?
Number one, I think you hit on, frankly, one of the biggest issues we have as a country. It's a breakdown of the family unit, right? I mean, that is a major problem that impacts all of society. And so what we have to do in our education system is continue to try to engage families and give them the opportunities to be more involved in their kids' education. I'm going to tell you what you don't do. You don't go out like the Biden administration did and go and prosecute parents that showed up at school board meetings that were upset that there was pornography in their kids' classroom. Instead, we should do the opposite and say, parents, full transparency. We want you to see every lesson your kid has on school, and we want you to help. So we're going to partner with you. Come into the school. Let me show you what our classes are like. Let us show you the curriculum. We want to empower you because we know hey, if you're involved in your kid's education, your kid's going to do exponentially better. And so I think that our education systems have to continue to reflect that. We want parents involved every step of the way. We want to go back into, I love how you said that. That's one of our themes here in Oklahoma, get back to the basics. We want to make sure that families are sitting around the dinner table talking about their day with their kids, talking about their curriculum, talking about what lesson they learned today, talking about America, talking about American history. I think that's so central to the future of this country, that we pass on our values to the next generation. And the way that happens is through the family unit. And so education has to be built around the premise that it is the family unit that we're there to support. And the more that we do that, the more often that I think parents will take you up on that opportunity to engage more closely with their kids' education and become more involved in their kids' lives, which is going to be so crucial for this next generation.
Ryan Walters, great friend of ours here at Lindell TV. Thank you so much. The Oklahoma State Superintendent of Public Instruction. Always a pleasure to have you on. Thanks for coming in on this historic day. Give President Trump a pat on the back. I mean, this is a day that's been a long time coming.
Absolutely. And it was fun to enjoy it with you today. So thank you for having me on.
Thank you, Ryan. We'll talk to you soon. All right, we want to remind you as we start to close out the show that we are on YouTube. You'll hear me say that a lot because I want you to go subscribe. This is basically me begging you. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just type in Lindell TV News. There it is right there on your screen, Lindell TV News. Simply hit subscribe. It's just another source where you can get all the news right to your phone, to your computer, all of our videos, lives, things like that. You can also tell your friends, share it for us. It's the best way to get the word out. Tell your friends and your family, share the news. Again, that's Lindell TV, now on YouTube. Also, we want to remind you about our website that is continuing to grow day by day. You can get the latest news and headlines and watch us live every day at LindellTV.com. At the top, we have a Doge tracker. There you can see up to the minute savings by Elon and the Doge team, how much it's saving America and how much it's saving you as a taxpayer. All of this and so much more on LindellTV.com. And as we close out the show, another reminder that you can help support Mike Lindell and all of us here at Lindell TV by going to MyPillow.com. There you have some great deals, but you know what? I am going to give you a better deal. Go to Lindell TV, or I'm sorry, MyPillow.com. You can go to LindellTV.com too, but MyPillow.com. Type in my promo code. Mr. Mike Lindell gave me a promo code. It's Vanessa. 1 N, 2 S's. People ask me all the time. 1 N, 2 S's, VANESSA. I promise you it's good. Just type in Vanessa and save big. Happy shopping to all of you. Enjoy that promo code and enjoy those savings at MyPillow.com. That'll do it for us today. That's all the time we have. Thanks for joining us on the Mike Lindell Show. I'm Vanessa Broussard. We'll see you right back here, same time, same place tomorrow. Have a great evening, America.
You ever see this guy with the pillows on Fox? My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell. He is the greatest. The My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell. And he's been with us right from the beginning.